The topic today is, must we renounce in order to gain salvation? Now, before we get into the topic, we have to understand a few things first. Usually this word renunciation or nekkhamma in the Pali language is a very misunderstood word. Especially the word renunciation to some people who are used to the idea of renunciation meaning monkhood. Some people think that renunciation means getting out of the home life and taking up the homeless life. That means the life of a monk. Shave your head bald, wear the saffron robes, go to the jungle, and forget about it. There is renunciation. If that is necessary or not, if the question of it being necessary to become a monk or not, to attain salvation, then perhaps the answer is no. But if it is phrased in this way, is renunciation necessary for salvation, meaning is giving up necessary for salvation? The answer can also be no. Because renunciation does not necessarily mean give up. We'll go to that later. Now, during the Buddha's time, there was this man called Digajanu. Now, he asked the Buddha some questions. He said, while the monks are so peaceful looking and so serene, he said, we lay people who are involved in business, who have family, who have wife and children, and who are involved in so many worldly affairs. And he asked the Buddha, can we attain spiritual goals in your religion? And the Buddha answered him this way. He said, those who have families, who still is very involved in worldly affairs, not one, not two, not five, not 10, not 15, not 5,000, but many, he said. Many has attained very high spiritual goals. And he said that the religious life is not meant for only monks. It is within the reach of everybody. Then comes to one very bogging question. If we were to start renouncing, that means Buddhism is going to be very dull, very pessimistic, and has no zest for life. It seems to suggest that. Now, when we speak of salvation, I think that different people have given it different meanings. For example, some people think that this world is a mess. They think that it is not good to live in this planet Earth. You better dream of something else like heaven, maybe. Then what is heaven? Heaven is everlasting peace, people say. So they say. Heaven is everlasting peace. So when the mind starts thinking of heaven as everlasting peace, the earth becomes so uninteresting. But is that necessarily so? I would think, yesterday I was having a little party in Dolly's place. The way we eat, we had satay, we had, I don't know what they call, so many things, I don't even know their names, I just started eating them. And I say, if you catch one person who has not been eating from Africa, you put them right in front of at the party, and he says, my goodness, I think before he eats, he will cry first. I think that is heaven to him. If you start promising him an everlasting heaven, I think he doesn't want. I'll stay here in Dolly's place. I'll be happy, he said. So, even if people start dreaming of heaven, no matter how great a place you create for men, I don't think you are going to satisfy his desire. You know, one day the Buddha was meditating, and then with his psychic eye, he saw that in this world there were kings. There were kings who were very unjust, that means not ruling properly. So he saw that the subjects were very hungry, very poor, and having a lot of social problems. Then the Buddha said, he says, these kings are not being fair to the people. So he then in front of him he saw two great mountains, very big mountains. And he said, just an imagination, he said, if I become a king, oh no. Mara tempted him. He says, why don't you become a king? You are so wise, you are so powerful, and people will not suffer if you become a king. The Buddha saw these two great mountains and he said, and Mara told him further, he says, with your powers, you can turn these two mountains into gold. Then people will suffer no more. He said. But the Buddha is not so easily swayed by opinions, because he saw one nature of man, desires, unsatisfactoriness of man. And the only truth he saw was, yes, those people are suffering because of an unjust king. Even if I become a king, he said, and has the ability of turning these two golden mountains into gold, it will not satisfy the desire of one man. Such is the nature of human desire, the Buddha said. Imagine if we own the two mountains of gold. That means our level towards wealth is multiplied by so many times. So the moment we say, I want more, that means you want much more than the two mountains of gold, isn't it? Because you take your level of desire from that point of comparison. And that is how man can never be satisfied. How can man ever be free if he is always haunted by his own desires? And I remember telling a story right here in this hall, maybe about half a year ago. Maybe I'd like to say it again. We recently did a dance for this in Malacca. So the story goes like this. There was this man who was a laborer. Now his job was to go to the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, and look for precious stones. So he works for a very rich man, a gem tycoon, you see. So when he was digging precious stones under the hot blazing sun, he felt a little tired. And then he sat down under beside some rocks, and he started thinking. He said, life is suffering. He said, who doesn't know that? You don't even have to come to the temple to know that. He said, life is suffering. He said, all my life I've been toiling, I've been a laborer, I've never experienced the happiness my boss experienced. His boss is a tycoon selling precious stones. The ladies were like him. Precious stone tycoon. How I wish I'm my boss. So he wants freedom, isn't it? He wants to be free from becoming a laborer. So by some magical powers, let's treat this story as a dream, okay? So he falls into a dream and he saw that he was the gem tycoon, very rich. So rich that he can light the cigarette with $100 bill, too rich. So becomes very rich. Very, very rich. So walking around with very nice clothes, with a lot of companions, with a lot of money power. Then he said, aha, now I'm happy. You think he will be happy? Do you think he's free from suffering? Yeah, for the moment, yes. Not until one day when he saw a king. Now this king was passing by in a golden chariot. Hey? When the king was passing by, all his companions, those people looking after him, all his servants, had to bow down with their heads touching the ground. Kowtow to the king, he says. Well, then when he saw other people, I better do it or the king will cut my head. He said it. So he started doing it. He had to do it. He had no choice. So when he kowtow, I think he must be cursing the king. He says, you fool. Now I have to kowtow right in front of you in the midst of my servants. He says, you are really insulting me. Then he went back and he started thinking, how can happiness no more? Money means nothing already. He says, how can I have so much money and I have to kowtow to somebody? Cannot, he says. Now I want power. So now he not only now he doesn't need money, he only needs power. So he feels very sad, very bad mood. He said, unless I become a king, I will be happy. By some magical powers, he saw his dream come true. He became a king. And he gave a big laugh, ha ha. He says, now I'm the king. I not only am rich, I have control over the wealth of other people. Said, and I have power. Nobody can tell me what to do. Now I am happy. So he started drinking wine, women and songs. Good life. Heaven on earth. Not until one day when the king was going on his golden chariot, he saw right in front of him everybody bowing and he was very happy. Then from the corner of the earth came Mother Nature's sun. Sun was rising. He was talking, giving a speech to his people. He started feeling warm. Because the king's clothes, a lot of decoration, costume jewelry. So he was giving a speech, says, how can this sun doesn't respect me? Because of the sun I'm sweating, I had to suffer because of the sun. The sun is more powerful than me. He doesn't respect me. He's higher than me, he says. Now the world is nothing to him. He yearns to have supernatural. So he wants to be the sun. How can? Now suppose Ken, let's say Ken, saw his dream come true again, he became a son. And he said, ha again, happy. Desires fulfilled. So freedom from unsatisfactoriness, but not for long. Because just as he was enjoying burning up forests and making farmers suffer and having a good laugh at them, came another Mother Nature cloud. And the story goes on now. Let's complete the story better. And so the clouds came and says, how can these clouds? No respect for me, blocking my ways from people. He said, cannot. He said, cannot. I want to be a cloud. I don't want to be anything less than a cloud, he says, because he's more powerful than me. So he became a cloud. And again he goes, 2 times. Okay, enough. Because it won't last long. Because when the cloud casts a big rain over the earth, he saw right in front of his very eye, while others are suffering his rain, there is one object on the earth that is not moved by its power. A huge rocky mountain. Not worried about the rain at all. He says, how can? The mountain is not afraid of me. So now he's sad again. Just when he begins to feel sad, he says, never mind. I can be the mountain. See? I think our talk will finish. Cannot finish today. Then he became a mountain. Now I know it's so easy to give a talk actually. So anyway, he became a big mountain. Now nobody can touch me, not even floods. You know what happened? Came a weak, poor, haggard laborer with a chisel chiseling at the mountain. How can this fellow is breaking my head? And now he wants to become the laborer again. The question is, will the laborer ever be happy? One day he wants to be the gem tycoon again. And then one day the gem tycoon wants to be the king. And the king will never be happy again. And the story goes on. So, I don't need to repeat the story, isn't it? Unless I got no more ideas, I repeat. But this is the nature of life. If we are not mindful about the nature, the way we spend life, if we are not mindful of this fact, I tell you, it's how life in a way keeps us going and chasing and chasing and chasing. After happiness, the happiness drop, we chase for another happiness without realizing that actually sometimes we can be caught. Okay. Now, speaking of salvation again, maybe it is good to bring to your notice that even if you commit suicide, you will not be free from life, isn't it? Even if you are reborn in the heavens, we must always remember, even the heavens do not last forever. I would be very worried if I'm born in an everlasting heaven, eternal. I would be very worried, I tell you. Because if I were to be reborn there, if I don't like the place, I have to stay there forever. Oh, I don't want that. I prefer Buddhist concept. Well, never mind, I'll wait until lifespan over, can be reborn somewhere else. Nicer, isn't it? Take a trip around existence, not only around the world. Don't like Africa, you can go to America. Don't like America, you can go to China. But then you're still running away and running away. And he will keep chasing you. So I am not worried if I do not have the ideal of everlasting heaven. Because I somehow feel sorry for people who go to everlasting hell. You know, one day Chief Reverend went to Malacca. He was giving this talk. I know that he gave a talk here, life after death, isn't it? So we changed the topic when he went to Malacca, life before death. That is how to live life, isn't it? So we stayed life before death. Then he went into life after death. And then there was somebody who wrote to him a slip of paper. He said, Dear monk, you do not believe in a Savior. Aren't you afraid to be condemned to eternal hell? I think it must have come from a non-Buddhist. Chief Reverend read the paper and started having a good laugh. He started laughing. He says, why I want to go to the heavens, he said? Because I don't want to go to the heaven. Because I think I prefer to go to hell. Because Buddha don't believe in God. He must be in hell. He said, Hitler don't believe in God. He must be in hell. Very interesting man to meet, he said. Napoleon also, all these people who have killed, who slaughtered many people, it's a very interesting place, a lot of good friends. And I can see the Buddha there, he said. If he's reborn in hell because he don't believe in God. So, that was what he said. So there's nothing eternal. So even heaven and hell will be very impermanent. Now, everybody seeks freedom. Then comes to the question, what is freedom? That means if freedom from suffering means being able to satisfy every desire that arises in everybody, then I think If that is salvation, freedom, you don't want to be sad. You want to have as many things as possible in life. Then might as well we all migrate to America, a land of freedom. So much freedom there. You can have lots of food. You can buy lots of things. You can do many things that people here don't even dare to think of. So many religions there to choose from. So many things like America. But despite this material wealth that the people of America, no Americans here, after he sue me I die. Despite the material wealth Americans are having, are enjoying, still the social problems is so high, isn't it? The crime rate is very, very high in America. That means you can bribe the whole country with money, with enjoyment, spasmodic joy, just for a while. You will not actually solve the problem entirely. That means it can be the richest country, it can be the most beautiful country, it may have the most things that other countries do not have, but still, the hearts of its people can remain empty because they become a victim to their own desires. Then, speaking of renunciation, okay, Buddha said, he said, the ocean is so big, isn't it? If you taste the water of the ocean, whether you taste the water at the center of the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean, at the side of the ocean, you will have only one taste. The taste of salt, isn't it? Saltiness will be the taste. And the Buddha said that those who follow my teaching, who live in accordance with the Dhamma, will only experience one taste, the taste of freedom. Hey, how can, he says? Because the Buddha preached so much on renunciation. Then where is freedom? So many rules to bind us to certain way of living, isn't it? You want to be a good man, don't kill. You want to be a good man, don't steal. You want to be a good man, don't sexually misconduct yourself. You want to be a good man, don't lie. You want to be a good man, don't take drugs or intoxicate yourself. Hey, I'm not free. I'm binded by so many laws, so many rules, so many advice. And the Buddha even said that those who have achieved a higher level of wisdom will also view this world as suffering, impermanent, selfless. Which means to say that these things must actually drop. You are supposed to renounce. Supposed to, but not forced to, please. Then, straight away people grasp onto the idea. Renunciation means giving up. A very, very big misconception actually. If renunciation means giving up, then we shouldn't clap when Sister Wendy is singing a song. If renunciation means giving up, then perhaps we shouldn't even smile. Please don't go out of the hall after this and look at your car. Hey, my car, terrible thing. Don't do that, no need that. Because I think renunciation is not giving up material only in that form. It's more of a phenomena of the mind. It's more of a growth in attitude towards higher realities, that's all. Then, let us speak about freedom first, because Buddha said, the Dhamma has one taste, the taste of freedom. Now, before we go into his concept of freedom, let us divide freedom into two types. The first type is freedom as a license. The second type is the truer version of freedom, the more permanent version of freedom. Now freedom as license means like this. Everybody wants to be free. If I can park my car anywhere I like, it's so nice, eh? If I can say anything I want, isn't it nice? Nobody controls you. If you can carry a gun and start shooting anybody you like, I don't like you, pang. Oh, I don't like you, pang. Oh, nice. Very easy, eh? So only your friends will be left. And one day your friend call you a pig, just draw a gun and boom, finish, cowboy. Last time cowboy like that, I think. They go to the coffee shop with guns. Freedom is license. That's why James Bond has license to kill. Can kill anybody he likes. The law will not come against him. You can drive your car as fast as you like. But are you really free? Maybe you ask for trouble. Some religions give you a lot of freedom. You got freedom to kill also. No problem. Fight a holy war. There you get your license. You kill one life, guarantee you go to the heaven. Not bad. Such religion is very interesting. You can. They give you the license to kill also. But don't you think it is shrouded in ignorance like that, isn't it? This kind of freedom, I don't think we will buy it as Buddhist. In fact, in India, those times, while the Buddha say, appreciate the life, even life of animals, there are certain religions who teaches their followers that if you kill animals for sacrifice, very good for you. The gods will answer your prayers. Tell you one little story about how man is not even free from opinions by following religions. See, one day the Buddha was walking through a village, and then he saw this Brahmin who believes in the act of doing sacrifice, Sacrifice means killing life dedicated to certain gods or deities with a hope of receiving blessings from them. So you know what he did? He gathered 500 chickens, 500 goats, 500 cows, 500 whatever that can be offered. Tie them up to trees, prepare one big chopping board, and waited for his chance to kill. So Buddha was walking past. This is in the novel. So it seems that Buddha was walking past and asked this Brahmin. He says, Brahmin, what are all these animals for? He said, and he saw the Buddha. He says, Venerable one, you are so peaceful looking. You walk with such poise and dignity. You are so serene. Please accept my veneration. So he kowtowed to the Buddha. He awed at the Buddha's beauty. Buddha is a very handsome man. So Buddha asked him. He said, what are you doing? He said, Venerable sir, he said, I'm preparing all these animals for a big sacrifice. A big sacrifice. So many? He says, the more, the better. He said, now tell me, Brahmin, what is the sacrifice for? He says, Venerable, don't you know that? He says, no, I don't. He said, you see, he said, he explaining to the Buddha, when we slaughter animals and sacrifice it to the gods will be happy. When the gods are happy, whatever we wish for in life will be granted. Oh, I see, he said. Then he asked the Brahmin, he says, now, how do you value the sacrifice? The number of lives or the quality of life? He says, both. So Buddha asked him, Now tell me, if you add up the lives of all these animals that you are going to sacrifice, you compare with your one life, which is higher, which is better? Of course, my life is worth more. I see, he said. Now he says, tell me, Brahmin, just now you were venerating me. You paid the respect to me. Eh? Now between my life and your life, the Buddha's life and his life, which is worth more? Oh, Venerable One, you are so serene. You must have achieved a lot of spiritual goals in your life. I think your life is worth more. Maybe 1,000 times more, he said. He said. Then he went to the sacrificial post. Now they prepare a post to kill the animals. So Buddha went there. Brahmin, do you want to please your gods? He said, yeah. Tie me. What for? He said, sacrifice me. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Nobody does that. He said, why not? Because I'm a more worthwhile sacrifice. Right? Your gods will be happy. You get all you want. I don't mind. He said, this is a very extraordinary man. He said. Then Buddha asked him a few questions. He said, Brahmin, he says, when you sacrifice these animals, yes, you want your wishes to come true. He said, yes. Don't you pity the animals? Don't you pity the lives of, don't you appreciate the lives of other beings? And he said, no, Venerable One. You see, in my religion, both parties get the benefit. Animals which are killed in sacrifices are reborn in heaven. So, I'm helping to send these animals to heaven. So, the benefit is two. The animals get to heaven, and I get my wishes granted. I see, he said. So you are doing the animals a big favor, isn't it? You, definitely, I'm sending them to heaven, he said. Brahmin, do you have children? He said, yes. How many? 3. Do you love them? Oh, I love them very much. Do you want to send them to heaven? And Buddha asked him, do you want to send them to heaven? What do you think he says? And he started thinking, yeah, actually. And after that, of course, it's followed by a very profound lecture which woke him up from his ignorance. So everybody wants to be free. And to be free, we do so many silly things. Like what this Brahmin do. We all do the same thing sometimes. In Malacca, I see some of our Buddhist devotees. You only have to tell them a very powerful Lama is coming. You go, they'll chase the Lama like a movie star. You just tell them a certain monk from Thailand has psychic powers. Dhamma talks will be empty. Or you go somewhere else and, start praying for favors. You are actually doing the same thing as what this Brahmin is doing. Chasing after things that you do not even understand. I have seen people do a lot of funny things. Sorry to say, even among monks. Even during the Buddha's time, monks are divided into 4 types. The Buddha divided monks into 4 types. Speaking of renunciation. Because if you think that renunciation means becoming a monk, 出家人, you better think twice. Because 出家人 also got 4 types. Buddha said, the first type of monk is called the conqueror of the way. That means Buddhas and Arahants. That means Buddha, because he found the way. That is the first type of beings who are free from suffering. They divided the second types are called teachers of the way. That means Arahantas, people who have realized Nibbana, Arahants. Now teachers of the way are teachers who teach the way the experience. Then comes the third type, monks who are called dependent on the ways, who lives depending on the way. That means who live in accordance to the Buddha's teaching, the Noble Eightfold Path, who lives in accordance with the spiritual ideal of trying to achieve salvation. And the Buddha never forgot that there's one last group, those who destroy the way, foul the way. I think it's not that I think it is a sad case, but I so don't seem to be very interested in palm reading, Kwamya, Taimeng, monks who sits at a certain place, strategic place, the donation box is bigger than the Buddha image. I've seen many like this. So, this is human nature, isn't it? They are also human beings. They are not Superman, please. All kinds of people in the world. So, meaning to say, even if you have renounced by wearing a robe, you have only renounced by wearing a robe. Anybody can do that, Go to the shop, you only need $50. You have to renounce $50 only. And then you have to renounce your whatever hairstyles you like. See, like me, okay, right? Renounce already my hairstyle. Don't worry, it's because I cannot comb. So, there is just the physical aspect of renunciation. Understand? Which means to say there is nothing there. Buddha even said during his lifetime, he said, there are certain monks who, morning Venerable Sir, good evening Venerable Sir, hold my robes everywhere I go, so near to me. But their minds are not free from defilements. These monks are not free. They may even be beside me, but they are not free. Not free from even the normal worldly suffering. Buddha even said that. There are monks who are very far away from me, right in the middle of the forest, but they are free. At the same time, there are also monks who are right in the middle of the forest, no worldly things, although only trees and birds and wild flowers, still they are not free. They carry the whole Kuala Lumpur city to the heaven in their minds. Our mind is a very wonderful tool, Holiday season, sit at home in your room or at the balcony, start dreaming of China, your mind will take you to China. You want to riot in China, join them, okay, close your eyes, you can riot with them. Better still. The mind has two bodies, that's why human beings have two bodies. One is the physical body, one is the manokaya, mind body. That means the mind can create the most beautiful girl in the world, the biggest bank, the world's biggest diamond, anything you want. You can you don't miss anything as long as your mind is sound. But still cannot. Still not enough. So the mind is used for creating bigger and bigger things. Like this laborer just now. Then come back to our salvation thing. How can we be free? Suppose a man is in jail. Jail is the worst place, Or any other place worse than that? I don't know. So sometimes jail can be the best place. Do you know that? It's the best place If you utang a lot of money for people, they cannot get you. It's the best place because it can give you life, new life. Tell you a little news. Still news, but still it's a news. People always think, if I get all the best things in life, I stay in a big mansion, stay in a good house, good life. If you have to live in jail, you're the one. Jail is a place for condemned people. If your karma is right, a jail can be the best place. You know that? You know Mount Pele, a volcano? I don't know which, my geography I gave back to my teacher already. Mount Pele, I just know it's a fierce volcano that erupts, still erupts. See, when Mount Pele erupted, I think a few years ago, it was so sudden that the villagers had no time to escape. No time. So big explosion followed by flow of lava. The whole village at the foot of that mountain, with a population of, if I am not mistaken, 180,000 people, were buried under the lava. Everybody died. So it was thought everybody died because the whole village was covered. So operation to save whatever they have to save, I don't know what is there to save. Suddenly out came one guy under the lava dust, which has already dried and cooled down. He came out. The only survivor. 180,000 dead. He's the only survivor. They interviewed him. You're a very lucky man. He says, yes. Thanks to the prison wall that was so thick. Everybody died. You see, he could have been one of the worst criminals, put under the thickest prison. The wall was so thick, the lava couldn't get in. The heat couldn't get through. Of course, when he came out, he must have been half dead, but he was the only one safe. The hero of the day. Put a person in a prison. Tie him to a chair, not only prison, tie him to a chair, gag his mouth, blindfold him, tie his legs. That is the worst can happen to a person. Then you let go of the gag, let go of the blindfold, release him from the chair. He experienced a little bit of freedom now, right? Can move around the prison. Then he'll be thinking, how nice if I can get out of prison. Release him from the prison, a poor man. Now just now he was a victim to the chair. Now he's a victim to the cell. Release him, he becomes a victim to the society. Because he goes back to his family, very poor family, has to earn for the food. Then he becomes a victim to his new commitments. Even if you take him, put him into a wealthy family, middle class, with the right to vote, right to say, to do a good job, and so on and so forth. Still he's not really free. Still got commitments, Then you give him anything he wants in this world. Make him the biggest, the strongest king in the world. Still, he will. Anything. So free that at the snap of a finger he can get anything. There's one thing we cannot forget. And now we go into, now this is worldly happiness, right? Which is the birthright of everybody. Anyone can earn it. Buddha never said that a man, that renunciation means you forget to live. You renounce unnecessary things. It doesn't mean you renounce progress. Progress need not be renounced. Something for you to enjoy, isn't it? Now he said, Now he comes into the Buddhist concept of freedom, he said. Now this king that has everything at the snap of the finger, why do you think he snapped his fingers? Because he wants something, isn't it? He wants to have happiness. If the king don't like you, he will also snap the fingers. He asks his bodyguards to shoot you. So he can snap his fingers for different reasons. Isn't that right? If he doesn't want to snap the fingers, he just sit there. There will be a very dull life, isn't it? No fingers to snap. Now you snap a finger and see, those days kings enjoy, if they have a prisoner like Samson, they throw them in, and the king will watch Samson fighting with a lion and he'll enjoy it. Ooh, great guy. Oh, wine please. Buddha saw you can have everything in the world, but human beings cannot be free from feeling. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Three kinds of feelings. What are they? Pleasant, it's pleasant, nice. Unpleasant, second feeling. Third one, neutral. The one that makes the king so dull, is not? Neutral. The king snapped the fingers the first time because pleasant feeling. There was this king. During Buddha's time, he was going around the town. I think the town was called Rajagaha. Suddenly he saw a beautiful girl. To see that beautiful girl who was standing at the balcony when we were going round the Rajagaha town. Yes, my lord, yes, your majesty, I saw her. Go and find out if she's married. Hello, and came back. King, oh king, she is married. Who is the husband? I forgot his name, but she had a husband now. Who's the husband? Oh, so and so is the husband. Now how can I get her? See the king, terrible. How can I get her? I have a plan, the king said. Ask the husband to see me in the palace. So husband came. As from today, I appoint you as my gardener. Okay. You know what's the king's plan? When he becomes the gardener, the king tries to make him make mistakes. Then he can kill this gardener. You kill my orchid maybe. Come here, bang. Last time no gun, sorry. Let out sound. But the gardener knew something was going on. Cannot be, say the king, do not appoint gardeners for no reason. I think the king is up to no good, he said. But the gardener worked so hard, he worked so well, that the king could find no faults in him. The king caught already. The more the gardener makes no mistake, the more frustrated the kings become. And as time goes by, he missed the wife of this gardener even more. Then he hated this gardener for doing the right things always. Can you imagine that? If I have a gardener who does the right thing, I'll be the happiest man in the world. The king hated this man for doing things right always. Why? Desire. Because his mind is anchored upon another desire. Desire for this man's wife. I must send him for a very difficult job. You know what he asked him to go and look for? Look for the magic lotus. At a certain pond from the Naga kings, the kings, Chinese say Liang Bo Ong. My mind, this story a little bit cartoon, never mind. Most important is see what's wrong with this king. Go to Liang Bo Ong, Hai Rong Wang, to ask for a special lotus. You don't get it by evening, you are finished. So the man say, oh my goodness, how am I going to get it? He said, never mind lah. He tapao chap fan, I think. One packet of rice and some water, and he was on his way. Where is he going to find? He don't know. All he knows is the king is after his wife. The king now has a lot of hatred in him, a lot of lust, burning with lust. And he loved his wife too. So he kept on walking and hoping and walking and hoping, and suddenly he sat under a tree, he felt hungry and he was eating, he opened it, tapawan, he opened. And when he was going to eat, an old man was passing by. And this old man asked him, says, good man, I've come a long journey, I'm hungry. Can I share your food? Oh, please. Please sit down and share my food with me. Here, take half, And they ate together, and little did he know that this old man was actually the manifestation of some heavenly beings who saw that he has led an honest life. I always believe in virtues. You know what are virtues? Good things. If you have a good heart, you can go anywhere, nothing can go wrong. You will have a good heart when you are in trouble. You don't need to pray. Don't pray and pray and pray. Oh, Lord Buddha, please repair my car. It's broken down at the highway. Cannot. Good-hearted men always attract good-hearted mechanics. You know Malam Sri Bodhi? I divert a little bit. Malam Sri Bodhi, last time. I was down to sing a song. I sang the song and my friend said, why don't we go back the same night? My car broke down at the highway at 1:45 in the morning. My goodness, I can't push the car. Somehow the car was so disciplined and so wise. It chose to break down right at the toll gate near to Malacca. So came some very good-hearted mechanics. Hello brother, asal kereta problem tak? Ya. Oh, minyak hitam tak ada, no black oil. So he donated to me his black oil. Donated. After that the car can start. Brother, lu kasih lari cepat sikit tak ada, black oil habis, tak sampai Melaka. Larilah, my car 14 years old, how to run? You must respect the age. After that, instead of a good-hearted mechanic, it was a highway robbery. He tell me very nicely, brother, kalau kita orang tak ada tolong, awak kena tidur highway tau ini malam. He says, ini minyak pun pukul 1:45 pagi, malam mau beli, tak dapat. RM50 cukup lah. Hayo, one tin of oil, $15 become $50. My friend smart. Pull that fellow, open the front door. Brother, lu tengoklah, member saya tak boleh jalan. Ini dia punya kereta, lu terbagian $35. Jadilah. But the thing is, what was I talking about just now, before this? About the king. So come back. Because of his virtues, somehow, some beings came to help him. And true enough, suddenly in front of him he saw a golden lotus, a beautiful lotus, just like the one the king wanted. Hey, it's a miracle, he said. So he took, maybe as a result of his good deeds, sharing the rice, maybe in his past he has been doing a lot of good things, so the heavens are touched by his heart. There's a Dhammapada verse, which says, fragrant indeed is smell of the perfume of Tagara, sandalwood, jasmine, and so on and so forth. But more fragrant still is the fragrance of virtue. And he says the fragrance of perfume blows not against the wind, but blows with the wind, isn't it? So, ladies who use very expensive perfume, poison, if you want the man to appreciate it, if the wind is blowing this way, make sure you stand there. You stand here, rugi, wasted. But Dhammapada says, the fragrance of virtue blows with the wind, not against the wind. But even sweeter is the fragrance of virtue, for it blows both with the wind and against the wind. And it doesn't only stop there. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha is said to have stated, sorry, I always move because it's tiring to sit here. Buddha even said that the fragrance of virtues can blow as far as the heavens. I know of some people who are miraculously saved. The car met with an accident, turned topsy-turvy and turned and flip and flop. The car became metal. You can sell by catties only. How many catties your car? So bad. But the fellow walked out. Nothing wrong. Next week buy a new car. We don't know. Some people not enough, karma finish. Not only langgar, aeroplane langgar. Recently newspaper, aeroplane banged the car. How? Imagine karma works in funny ways, isn't it? Aeroplane langgar, not only langgar from the front, langgar from the back. The whole family, one person died only. The rest all okay. Say hi, wa'alafiat. What to do? Such is destiny of man. So uncertain, right? So he was happily taking that flower, going back to the palace. I found it. I'm going to be spared. I'm going to be safe. The king saw him from very, very far. You know what he said? Guards, close the palace gate. Don't let the man in. If he doesn't present the flower before me, he dies. He went there, the gate was closed. What am I going to do? I can't get in, I will die, he says. But he's a smart man, desperate, he don't know what to do. You know what he did? He take the flower, he hang it at the gate, not the lock, he just hang it there, and he cry out to the whole town. Oh, people of Rajagaha, listen to me, I have done what I have to do as asked by the king. But the king doesn't want to let me in. That night the king had a bad dream. The king dreamed of 4 very terrible sounds. Da, do, so, na, 4 sounds. Those were the 4 sounds. I don't know what they mean. They were very hellish sounds, like sounds calls from hell. Hell. Imagine if you sleep at night alone in your room Suddenly, how? It's life, I tell you, the king had worse experience. This is not hellish enough because I'm not a hell being. At least not yet. When he went to the Buddha, and the Buddha said, these are the cries of 4 good friends in the past who committed a lot of adultery. So they made a lot of families become in bad shape. They were born in hell. So every time they were born they are now in a melting pot. Every time they come up, they want to ask for help. They say, down in. The Buddha is talking about lust. Oh yeah, man, I lust for this person's wife. You say, what have I done? Because the cat cannot stand my talk, man. With this kind of talk, my children won't grow up well, he says. Let's shift. Oh my goodness. No, I think I better stop, huh? Anyway, where was I? Then he said, then he realized, I have all the powers I have, but I have entertained my lust so much that hatred became the governing factor of my life. I have had sleepless nights thinking of a woman that belongs to the heart of another man. What justice have I done as a king? He paid his veneration and became a good king after that. He honored the governor for all the jobs he had done, and he didn't ask for forgiveness. And that is why, if we are not careful about pleasant desires, pleasant feeling, it can become greed. When we have too much pleasant things, we want to have more pleasant things. We want to have more and more pleasant things. And sometimes, if you are not very careful, when you have no car, you want an old car. You have an old car, you want a Proton Saga, it's a new cheapest car because it's still cheap. Then you make some money and you want a bigger car. You get a BMW. When you have a BMW, I don't know what is more expensive. I do not know. I don't buy cars. Maybe you want a Rolls Royce. We have one Rolls Royce in Malacca. And when you have a Rolls Royce, every night, if you are staying in your... I got one friend, he's a teacher. To a teacher, a brand new Proton Saga is a great car, metallic paint. So he married last year, had a baby girl. So when he had a baby girl, a few months later, he bought a car. One day the wife came to me. She says, Kim Leng, those years, the first thing my husband did was look at the baby's face first. And every time he says the baby is so cute. Now, every morning he gets up, he looks through the window, see whether his car is still there or not. and everybody stole the car, and he doesn't even go say good morning to me anymore. I was thinking, if we are going to be caught in these pleasant feelings, make sure you are very careful. Make sure you are controlling the car. Make sure the car is not controlling your life. You know what I mean? Some people cannot sleep because they are afraid Southern Bank will close, Maybank will close, or Koperasi will close. They don't get the morning papers, they don't know the share market, they cannot go to office. The coffee will taste different. So we better make sure if it's pleasant feeling, who is controlling who. So the Buddha say, if you do not try to understand desire, you cannot be free from this. You cannot be free from this kind of governing forces. You cannot be truly happy. Agree to this point? Then unpleasant feelings. Second one, no one is free, isn't it? No one is free from unpleasant feeling. If one day, better don't say that, never mind. So if pleasant feelings can cause greed, pleasant feelings can cause hatred. So if an unpleasant feeling arises, I don't like. When I don't like, I hate. And of course, the neutral one can give rise to ignorance. Still, the three rules are there. See what I mean? So, please do not condemn Buddhism for teaching renunciation. The first step to renunciation, the Buddha is only very kindly and sincerely and cordially, affectionately telling you, give up hatred. Give up that one first. Cannot, right? Is he saying the wrong things? I don't think so, right? He's saying, give up lust, greed. You can enjoy all the good things in life in a very sporting way. You don't have to enjoy it in a very lustful way, isn't it? And give up ignorance. First step. That is why 5 precepts. Of course, when we don't understand it, Buddhism, dull. So boring. When last time I can be so free. Now, how? Mosquitoes I cannot kill. So uncomfortable in life. But the main reason was this is a technique. The Buddha wants you to give up hatred. That's why the Buddha said, don't kill. When you don't kill, you learn how to appreciate life. You learn how to appreciate life, you learn how to share this existence with all beings. When you learn how to share, you grow in love, isn't it? Metta. That's the virtue of the first precept, for example. Second precept. You learn how to give. If you don't steal, you learn how to be less selfish, you learn how to be less greedy. Oh, the radio is nice. Go and park my car there after nobody see food inside my car. Oh, that is stealing. It's greed. So when you learn how to stop stealing, that means you learn how to see greed arising, isn't it? When you want to steal something, that means you are greedy. If you are not greedy, you don't crave for something, what for you steal? What semak you bring back? So you learn how to check it arising. And then when you check greed arising, someday greed becomes so weak and you found it more important to give. Then you grow in charitable feelings, isn't it? I think it's a very virtuous precept if people practice it with the right wisdom. Sexual misconduct is also the same, helps you to check lust. And when you understand lust, you will drop. Lying. Oh, lying is very interesting. Why do people lie? Lying is a manifestation of your desire, you know. When you have a desire to make a person feel small, you want to hurt a person, you want to bluff somebody to get something so much benefit you, then you bluff. What for you bluff as a hobby? Anybody do that? Hobby is lying. No. So by restraining here, it checks your desire from being manifested. Because once it's manifested, you hurt people, you cannot keep it back. Too late. So check, second check. And of course the other one is heedfulness. I see a lot of virtues in 5 precepts. It's a bit tough. But the Buddha gave the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts were always there, not to bind you to a certain way of life, but to free you from ignorance, that's all. From this very thirsty way of living, wanting and not understanding what you want. And that is why we renounce the bad things first. And we lead a purer life, a cleaner life, a more meaningful life. And when life becomes more meaningful, you are not bothered by a lot of unnecessary things in life. Then you have the opportunity to grow in your wisdom. And when wisdom grows, you see that how your sense desires, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your taste, your touch. Your mind has been playing games with you. Then you become a more steady person. If people blame you, steady. People praise you, steady. You will not be caught so easily. And that's a wiser way to live. After all, we are all caught by anicca, dukkha, anatta. So you have more equanimity if you practice renunciation. I can't cry in my bed the whole night because I cannot walk, I will die crying due to dehydration, cry too much. Cannot. So you see, you become less shaken by the world. Of course, being a normal human being, once in a while we get shaken. Enjoy it, never mind. But the fact is, you have to learn how to strengthen your spiritual self. The more you live, so we anchor our life upon a higher purpose. Give up the lesser purposes in life. Hatred must be given up. Buddha just said one simple thing: give up hatred, renounce. Some people cannot. Oh, if I don't hate for one day, susah, but they don't know that. You have 1,000 enemies. You see how effective the Buddha's method is. 1,000 enemies. Why are they your enemies? Simply because in your little heart there is this element called hatred. If your life is metta, that 1,000 enemies are not enemies, they are friends, fellow beings, isn't it? And here you are, some people with 1,000 enemies around them, they go to enemy number 1. Give you $10, make him happy, and then try to make the second one happy, try to make the third one happy, and try to make all the 1,000 happy. Not wise. All you have to do is just renounce this hatred. All the 1,000 enemies become your friends. So easy. Why go and sit 1,000 times when the enemy, the real enemy, is right here, isn't it? If you can love 1,000 people, it doesn't matter whether they love you or not. It doesn't matter. What's important is your own life, whether you love them or not. Sigalo Vada Sutta, he says, always respect your parents. What happens if my parents never look after me? When I was small, she threw me at the Tong Sampah. Then when I'm 28 years old, earning a big money, then they come back. It does not matter. It's what you can do to them that's more important, isn't it? If there is still enough love in you, and that is the thing that is the higher purpose you should anchor to in life, isn't it? Free from hatred. Free from lust. You do not become a victim of your own desires. And free from boredom. And don't have to start playing arms. I make many people angry. One day I was speaking in Malacca. I didn't know the microphone was so loud. So our neighbor staying at our temple were playing mahjong. I didn't know, really. So when you are playing mahjong, I said, be careful. Because see, some people are so bored, they start playing mahjong. Not to offend. I was just giving an advice. As you build the walls, isn't it? You build walls, isn't it? Mahjong. P. Ramlee has a song for it. He said, di atur dua-dua, di susun-susun, semacam dinding. Pay 2 by 2, you arrange it like a wall. And I just tell people, as you play mahjong, it's fine as a hobby. But as you are building the walls on the table, make sure you're not building a wall around your life. You go home to eat and then you come back and play mahjong again. And you forget about life, isn't it? So the mahjong walls is actually governing your life. Make sure it doesn't happen. So first step, free yourself from negative desires. And then second steps, enjoy watch the desires. And you understand the desire. And then later on we talk about salvation. That means freedom from desire. And that's why the Buddha say, my teaching has only one taste. The taste of freedom. Real freedom. So if you are a Buddhist, you practice Buddhism 50%. Right up to the precept is only 20%. Maybe 10%. You practice 10%, you're 10% free. 10% of freedom, isn't it? And that's why I see a lot of happy faces who can still smile. Not like people visit in hospital. Oh, Kim Leng, I pity you. No time for that. Only smile, and the whole world will smile with you. So if you want to be happy in life, make sure you are really happy. Don't have everything in life, but deep down in your heart, you know you are not truly happy, isn't it? So how many of you? 幾多仔？10個啊！哇，好明啊你！I don't speak Cantonese. I'm a straight born. Home ya, but when they are old, kena stay old folks home. Anak berapa? 10. Wah, how meng ali? Ya lah. Not sure yet, isn't it? So don't lie in the midst of having so many children, so much money, such a big fat bank account, but there's no joy. And that's why I always believe things must be true. And I have a philosophy here. I just start off. Joy cannot be fake. You cannot pretend to be happy. I have one friend who says, in my life I practice joy. I meditate on joy. Don't play a fool. You'll see him 24 hours, his face is like this. When he talks to you like this. So when I'm practicing, how are you today? I think extremism makes him a little bit cheesy already. How can you be... In life, you must be happy. I always talk and laugh at the same time. I think the ladies will be very frightened to talk to him. Hi-yo, you will look like a... When you practice, I said sometimes I do metta bhavana. No good. Must practice joy. While you want to practice, you practice lah. It's still ignorant, I feel. So joy cannot be faked, sorrow cannot be hidden. You may have all the best things in your life. If you are not truly happy, you are not truly happy. You can bluff everybody all the time. Wow, my philosophy different. Who said that? Abraham Lincoln. Whoever it is. You can bluff some people sometime, but not everybody all the time, isn't it? But mine is you can bluff everybody all the time, but you cannot bluff yourself. With that, I hope that you understand that renunciation is necessary for salvation, but renunciation is a path towards understanding. It is not giving up that is important in renunciation. It is growing up that is important. To understand life with its deeper meanings, to understand life in its clearer perspective, in a more accurate perspective, more anchored towards a higher purpose, that is towards salvation. That is renunciation. And I was very, very shocked during my school days, because in the Bible Jesus said, "Sell all thou have, give to the poor, and follow me." Renunciation, you know. And some of my friends don't go home. They stay in the church. They give up their mother and father also. Don't do that, please. Alright, I think with that, I wish you all the best. And renunciation is just as drop by drop of water will fill a jar till its brink. So also the practice of the Dhamma is also like that. Step by step, it's a gradual path, and someday you will get freedom upon freedom, you get more free and more free and more free. And I wish that you will all achieve the ultimate freedom that the Buddha has experienced it himself, which I can only talk about it because I have not experienced that, but at least I see some light on the other side of the tunnel. Don't practice joy meditation, please. If you're happy, you're happy. Not happy, not happy. Thank you very much. Where's my MC, please?
exist in this life, our form changes from one form to another, and life keeps on going and going in this samsaric world. In spite of material wealth, still, the social problems are so high, the hearts of the people are so empty. But we are supposed to renounce, but not forced to renounce. Renunciation does not mean giving up that smile that permeates peace, or the material need which can help to lessen people's problem, but more of the innate renunciation of the mind. We love to do all kind of silly things that the Brahmin had done to the sacrifice and the massacre of the animals. But one can see the wonders of the mind, because the mind can bring you to China to join, for example, the Beijing massacre. Human beings may not be free from feelings. There are three types of feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. But desires with hatred and anger have been discussed about too by Kim Leng, on how the king was angry about the gardener who did the right thing, and how he had wanted, amidst his angry and hatred desire, to get the beautiful married lady. In other words, those of the wrongful desires should be renounced. Those sandalwoods, joss sticks, jasmine flowers, and others may be fragrant, but more fragrant indeed is that of virtues. For it does not only blow against the wind, it also blows together with the wind. Therefore, do not condemn Buddhism because of renunciation, but more so through sharing. We grow more in loving kindness. We must learn how to strengthen our spiritual desires. And those are the things that I would have gathered from Kim Leng. I think there are actually more. So usually, like every other sessions, we open up the session to questions and answers. So I presume maybe many of you may have doubts in your mind which you would like to forecast it now, so that we can, Kim Leng can entertain your question. Your eyes. Let us recall to mind all the meritorious actions that we have done. This morning, we have made the right effort to come to the temple to participate in the Buddha Puja, to renew our faith and refuge in the Buddha Dhamma, so that we may learn to abandon wrong views and practices, so that we may learn to develop wisdom and compassion in our lives. These are all productive merits which will bring good results in due course. By the grace of these merits we have accumulated today, as well as in the past, may we and our loved ones always be free from harm and danger. If we are faced with troubles and difficulties, may the difficulties pass away. If we are faced with sickness or ill health, may we recover to good health soon. May our homes and property be protected by the Devas, and may we always meet with success. May these merits we have accumulated bring us joy in performing what is right. and to avoid doing what is unwholesome. May we always have the opportunity to listen and practice the Dhamma. May we make good progress along the path of Dhamma so that one day we will attain the state of perfect peace, Nibbana, where all suffering cease.